Straight ahead on 12 News.
I'm Andrew, and I'm the future of firefighting.
How local fire explorers are being put to the test at the state fair. Then, a Maple Grove man's mission to help students with math.
It's a movement to revolutionize how math is taught.
But first, the season for worksite thefts. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Johnson.
And I'm Alexandra Renslow. Theft can be an ongoing problem this time of year at construction work sites.
In Plymouth, a new apartment complex under construction was the target of copper thieves.
Roughly about $29,000 worth of wire was stripped out of the walls, from the electrical boxes, and stolen from the site.
That site is the Axis Apartments under construction near the intersection of Highways 169 and 55. The copper electrical wiring was stolen likely in the overnight hours last weekend. Plymouth police have also seen two more thefts this week at residential construction sites where thieves stole thousands of dollars in tools by breaking into trailers.
The cost of materials and labor, thefts affect everybody with the price of purchasing this stuff long term, if we're not able to get a handle on it.
And if there's a construction site near you, police urge residents to keep an eye on it and call police if anything looks suspicious.
A former accounts payable clerk is headed to prison for stealing $1.7 million from a Brooklyn Park medical supply company. A judge sentenced 37-year-old Stephanie Davis of Maple Grove to more than 5 years in prison. Davis worked at Reliable Medical Supply, where she embezzled money by setting up fake vendor accounts and forging company checks. The theft started in 2005 and went on for about 10 years. Davis apologized in court, saying she was horrified that her stupidity could leave her children motherless.
Neighbors are reaching out to help a Maple Grove couple whose home was destroyed by fire Wednesday night. The fire officials believe the fire started in the garage before quickly spreading. A GoFundMe page says the family members are Russian immigrants and known in the neighborhood as being friendly, generous, and hardworking. The neighborhood hopes to raise at least $10,000 for the family, and so far they have collected around $8,000.
Many Northwest Metro residents are trying to figure out how to avoid a traffic hassle getting to the state fair.
Now, one new option is bus service from the Bottineau Boulevard and 63rd Avenue parking ramp in Brooklyn Park. Eric Nelson tried it out, and this is what he found out.
We began the journey at 10:14 a.m. The most challenging part of the trip was parking. The Bottineau ramp was jammed. 10 minutes later, we finally find a parking spot on a nearby surface street. From there, things got much easier, and we hopped on the express bus bound for St. Paul and had plenty of company. We quickly discovered that we're not the only ones with the idea of taking the bus to the state fair.
Today's been a little bit of a struggle, but we made it.
Like most fair buses, this one was packed. It was standing room only. Finally, at 10:52 a.m., we began rolling. Next stop, the Great Minnesota Get-Together. 77 minutes later, we arrive at the state fair, the grandstand.
It was a great ride, great driver, and getting on was very organized. There was no pushing and shoving. It's just 70 people at a time getting on a bus.
The shuttle is the only way to go, as far as don't drive, because getting into the fair, they drop you right off.
The fairgoers we spoke with raved about the bus and were glad they did not drive.
Oh, absolutely. For $5 to get on a bus rather than try to spend 20 minutes running around parking down here, absolutely.
It's convenient and nice, and the price is right.
Could you imagine driving out here in this gridlock yourself?
Absolutely not. First of all, I'd get lost. And secondly, it's just too many cars.
Hands down, bus every time.
The good news for fair fanatics is that Metro Transit will run express buses day and night to the fair through Labor Day. I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
And to find a state fair express bus near you, go to metrotransit.org. And it is Fire Prevention Day at the Minnesota State Fair.
Fire explorers from all over the state are competing in different drills. Reporter Sonia Goen shows us what Brooklyn Center explorers had to endure.
The 18th Annual Governor's Fire Prevention Day is the largest fire prevention event in the world. This is where explorers come to get some hands-on experience.
It gives them an opportunity to think about fire service as a profession as they go through their high school years and beyond and decide what they're going to do with their lives.
This is our search and rescue event. 1, 2, 3. They crawl in, rescue the dummy, use their training that they got from their explorer posts, drag the dummy out. They're timed and they're scored on their skills.
Okay, so everybody stand up.
18 different teams are participating in 6 real-life scenarios.
You know, it's not only a competition, it's a learning experience for them. So we see some things that maybe they did wrong, and we can give them some good advice.
Take it from me, take it! Brooklyn Center explorers are among them.
Your assignment today is to ladder that window, advance your hose line up, and spray water inside the window.
One of my role models, my stepdad was a firefighter.
Carrie Lockley is hoping to become a Brooklyn Center firefighter.
Advance that hose line up, right?
I think we did pretty good. It was my first time doing that.
She doesn't mind the thought of putting her life on the line.
I think I put others' lives before mine. So knowing I saved someone's life, but almost dying doing it, it gives me the satisfaction.
You get to actually see what the firefighters do and why they do it.
Brooklyn Park explorers aren't competing this year, but officials thought it was important for them to be here.
It helps me get into more of the training and know what to expect when I get into firefighting.
Andrew says after seeing today's event, he's inspired to become a firefighter.
We have skills that we're going to use in the real world once we get out into the firefighting.
At the State Fair, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
The National Park Service is celebrating its 100th birthday with a new way to enjoy the Mississippi River. Kayak rental stations at North Mississippi Regional Park are now open for business and are the first of their kind for the National Park Service. You can make a reservation online, then pick up your kayak for a 4-mile paddling experience to Boom Island, where you drop it off. The next couple of months will be a trial period to see how popular it is.
The idea would be to have multiple stations up and down the entire 72-mile river corridor, but I'm also getting calls from other national parks now that saying they would like to do this there. So I won't be surprised to see, even though we're the first, we won't be for long.
To make a reservation, you can go to paddleshare.org. Coming up, a Maple Grove author who aims to make math creative and fun.
And then later in sports, the Wayzata football team has a lot of new faces as they hope to return to the state playoffs.
But first, a possible washout on Saturday. Showers and thunderstorms are expected. We'll be right back.
This year, when you send your student back to school, there is something you ought to include.
Along with pencils and paper, a Maple Grove author says to make sure that you send along a good attitude about math. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains.
We really want to find ways to help these students develop confidence in math.
Brett Bernard, a math teacher from Maple Grove, can relate to people who remember dreading math class.
I always had a really tough time in math. It was always a challenge for me. I wanted to do well, but it was just tough.
But a teacher helped him succeed, and now he wants to pay it forward.
I had some anxiety with math that I was able to deal with and overcome, and I wanted to write books for kids that I thought would have helped me when I was younger.
So Brett has dubbed himself America's Chief Math Officer and has written 2 books, Total Math Engagement, and his most recent, a student workbook called How to Talk Math.
By speaking that common language and having consistency, we can really understand what we're talking about.
In the workbook for 3rd to 6th graders,
we have the most commonly used words. Let's see here.
Brett takes common math words and phrases from standardized tests.
I'm having them create a word search.
And uses creative ways like writing poetry, rap songs, or bumper stickers to teach kids the definition.
Students are able to choose any one of the words they did in the geometry section and use their creativity and make a cartoon strip. And there's really a lot of power in students choosing what they want to do.
Brett says learning these concepts early are one way to help kids feel more comfortable with math. The other way starts at home.
What do they hear when they're kids? They hear us. They hear parents complaining about unpaid bills and credit cards and negatively about math. So we need to talk positively and just get them in a positive growth mindset to get back and have a fresh school year.
In Maple Grove, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
Brett's books are available on Amazon, and we have put a link on our website. It's 12.tv. Coming up, we are not done with math. We add up the delicious State Fair foods we found in Weekend Showcase.
But first, an Armstrong alum takes over as girls soccer coach at her old school. Jay Wilcox says that and more coming up next.
The fall high school season starts this week for many soccer teams in the northwest suburbs. 2 local squads met up in girls soccer as Cooper played host to Heritage Christian Academy. Cooper's Nora Griffin-Wiesner gets it ahead to Eiley Snapko, who splits the defense and goes in to score. Cooper takes the lead 9.5 minutes into the game, and that's the only goal. The Hawks win it 1-0. In the boys' contest, Heritage hoping to take down the host Hawks. And Cooper wastes no time getting started. Giancarlo Medina Pinzon gets loose and puts the shot away just 26 seconds into the contest. It stays that way until the final minute of the half. The free kick finds Noraldine Othman for the header goal. Cooper takes a 2-0 lead into the halftime break, scoring in the first and last minute of the half. And believe it or not, they do it again in the second half as Eddie Ogamba drills the left-footed shot home in the first minute. Cooper goes on to win the boys' game 3-1. The Armstrong girls team has a new head coach. The Falcons are motivated to have a good season after getting upset early in last year's Section 6AA tournament. Here's Jason Malillo with more.
Natalie Jin played on Armstrong's last state tournament team for girls soccer in 2007, and after coaching the Falcons JV team last year, Jin will take over as the varsity head coach for 2016.
You know, I got to see them play for a season, and even if they weren't on my team, I still saw them at tryouts for a year. And you know, even at JV, sometimes girls get promoted or get to come play up. So I even knew some of our B squad or freshman players, and then just having rapport with all the girls and knowing that they feel welcome to come ask questions and stuff. It makes it easier.
It's definitely been a new experience for everybody. Everything kind of changes. You have to fit into what they want. Some things are kept new, some things have to change. But for all, I think everyone's figuring it out and having a good fit with her.
The Falcons will have about half of their starters back, but they'll have to fill a big hole up front after the graduation of Mariah Haberly.
It's going to be a team game this year. Everyone's going to be involved in that scoring, and everyone's going to need to play their role in order for us to be successful. We're not going to depend on any one player to really dominate the scoring. I think we're going to look at all aspects, wingers, midfield, forwards, for them all to put goals in the back of the net.
In goal, junior Ana Aguada will be the starter for a 3rd season and should help stabilize the defense. Haley Hansen and Julia Osborne are also key returners and leaders for Armstrong. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
The Falcons beat St. Louis Park 1-0 in their opener Thursday night. They play at Minnetonka Saturday afternoon. Well, a strong program for a long time. The Wayzata football team reestablished its place among the elite last fall after dropping off a bit. What will they do for an encore? Here's today's training camp report. There will be plenty of new faces in the lineup for Wayzata this fall, but the guys who are stepping in for graduated seniors are ready for the challenge.
Oh, definitely, because we had most of our players from last year graduate that actually played. So I feel like all the, juniors who are seniors now really transition well, and now we're seeing it on the field right now. So
we're getting out here and we're competing. We like to try to challenge each other. We still have the ones versus ones going against each other. We're trying to compete and make each and every rep count and try to make it the offense better, and the offense trying to help us on the defense too.
After a tough 3-7 season in 2014, the Trojans made it to the state playoffs last fall, losing a heartbreaker to eventual 6A runner-up Eastridge in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think last year was a year where we felt maybe our confidence come back a little bit, and that usually happens when you're executing better. And so we will look to build on that. I think our players this year know what the expectations are going into the season, and we're optimistic.
Being out there on the last game of the year against Eastridge, it really gave me motivation and the rest of the team motivation to push and to strive for what we think we can achieve this season. That loss was hurtful, and I think it can really help us strive to be greater this year.
Bruiser Bryson Wilkins leads the offensive line, with Keyshawn Alexuk expected to get plenty of carries at running back. Gavin Baumgartner will take over at quarterback this year, and keep an eye on promising tight end Alec Jensen. On defense, and Ethan Faust and linebacker Justin Volk are proven players on a swarming unit. Wayzata wants to maintain the progress from last season. We'll see if a new group is ready to make it happen.
Let's go, hustle back, here we go.
The Trojans were 8-3 a year ago. Brad Anderson begins his 18th season with former Maple Grove AD Lambert Brown now on staff as assistant head coach. Anderson is 154-40 as Trojans coach. They open against Blaine next Thursday, so it'll be an interesting year coming up for the Trojans.
Yeah, not a bad record, that's for sure.
That's very good.
Thanks a lot, Jay. Still ahead, something extra tasty at the fair thanks to some residents of Plymouth.
We will show you when we come back. Well, finally, the #1 reason most people go to the fair, the food.
No.
Really?
It is why Neil Persley couldn't keep himself away. In today's Weekend Showcase, he introduces us to some Plymouth residents who are contributing to the tasty treats.
Everything about the state fair is entertaining, but what do people think about most when they come to the state fair?
Food. Definitely food.
Food. I had heard about several food vendors from Plymouth, so I set out in search of.
I make all the sausage myself.
I met Cynthia Forster Kavanaugh.
I've had a booth at the state fair for 28 years.
Sausage by Cynthia is a family-run affair.
We had a meat market in Plymouth, and it was Forster's Meats, and that was there for over 50 years, and that's what my father started.
And Dad still helps out, serving up these succulent, savory sausages of satisfaction to hungry fairgoers.
The wild rice sausage with the jalapeno.
Why?
It's just, you can't get it anywhere else.
These are not your run-of-the-mill sausages.
We have Cajun, we have a Northern Italian Tuscan that has mozzarella cheese, fresh basil and garlic in it. This year we have the Boudin, which is a Louisiana-style sausage.
Cynthia's sausages are so seductively satisfying, they're seriously close to sinful. Next, I dropped by an establishment of another longtime Plymouth resident. It's all hands on deck for Craig Gass and family at the Gas Station Grill. They used to be by the 4-H building.
And we were up there for 16, 17 years.
But then a spot opened up outside the southeast corner of the food building.
This is our 3rd year here.
New this year is Gas Station Grill's Minnesota Corn Dog.
The sausage is made in Albertville, a center cut meats that has blueberries, apple, cayenne pepper, wild rice, and maple syrup in it.
Your taste buds will want to hug you. This is quite possibly the best corn dog I've ever eaten. At the Minnesota State Fair for Weekend Showcase, I'm Neil Persley, 12 News.
And Sausage by Cynthia is one of Andrew Zimmer's top state fair food picks, and those corn dogs at the Gas Station Grill, Neil gives those a double thumbs up.
They must be heavenly. I heard the music.
Exactly. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
And we'll see you back here again Monday starting at 4.